Here we are with Arlen, and Arlen, what are you promoting today?
Well, my book, The Silver Age of Comic Book Art, it's the only book of its kind because it's the first book not only about the great art and artists of the Silver Age that they're making all the TV shows and movies out of today, but it's about the great artists of the Silver Age. Every history book before mine was text-heavy with little reproductions. I'm an artist. I became an artist because of the artists of this era, like a whole generation did. So my book is about the art, but all the text is the artist talking about the art.
Yes.
So what I do is, in places, I take out the original word balloons. Let me show you in the Jack Kirby chapter here. So you see this Captain America page?
Right.
I took out the original word balloons. That's Kirby telling you how he choreographs fight scenes like violent ballets.
Wow.
This is Kirby telling you how he designed all of these collages in his own words.
Where did you find the pieces?
The ones that were alive, I interviewed. The ones that were passed away, like Kirby, I got from previously published interviews.
Okay.
But in a way, you read the book like a giant comic book, but it's an art book and a history book at the same time.
That is really cool.
And it's about the 1960s, the Silver Age. So the book reflects, especially in my introduction here, the book reflects what was happening in the decade itself. So making comparisons like Lee and Kirby to the Beatles, Lennon, McCartney, and spreads like that.
So, do you have any interesting, anything a little controversial in there? Like somebody maybe saying something they shouldn't have said? Anything kind of
controversial? Well, the main controversy, I would say, especially in the chapter on Kirby, I give credit to the artist for creating these things. Stan Lee, who in print and in court has testified that he created these characters verbally.
Right.
Look at my Steve Ditko chapter. You see this image?
Yeah.
The original comic book panel was this big.
Yeah.
By presenting it this big with Ditko's own hand, I'm basically saying to you, the viewer, that until an artist puts pencil or pen to paper, there is nothing known as a comic book creation.
Right, it's a co-creation at least.
It's a at least.
Yeah.
The problem with Stan Lee is that he's taken 100% creation. Do you know Layman right here thinks Stan Lee is also the artist now?
I did not know that.
That's very sad, as an artist myself.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote a manifesto called The Auteur Theory of Comics, based on the auteur theory of film.
So what got you so, passionate about this, that, the artists need the credit, they have to, they've been getting the shaft all these years?
Well, as an artist myself, I find it very disconcerting when a writer like Stan Lee claims that the verbal creation is the whole creation. Now, if Stan Lee had written a novel called Spider-Man in 1962 about a teenager getting bitten by a spider, well, then fine, Stan, you would be the sole creator.
A novel actually sounds just as cool as a comic.
You wrote a comic book that needed an artist. Do you know Spider-Man, the concept was bandied about for 10 years before Steve Ditko put pen to paper and created? See, comic book characters are visual icons.
Yeah.
You don't have Spider-Man without this costume, and you don't have Spider-Man without Steve Ditko.
Right.
But to Stan Lee, the artist is irrelevant. He's gone on print as saying that artists were interchangeable. So you mean to tell me if you had given Spider-Man to Don Heck, you would have gotten this? No. So as an artist myself, I've worked in advertising with copywriters, with editors. The artist has been devalued in the society, and yet we're told that we live in a very visual society.
Right.
We get 90% of our knowledge through our eyes.
Right.
And yet in comics that are primarily a visual medium, the artist is lower than the writer.
So where can we get this book and learn about the visual storytelling?
Okay, well, on my website, arlenschumer.com, and this brochure, there's also an ebook version people can get. So they go to my website, there's a link, they can find it there. I appear at local conventions, I lecture, so they can get it here. I got my new t-shirt based on the book cover that I'm selling.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Here we are with Joe England, and what are you promoting today?
Zebra Girl.
Zebra Girl, and what is Zebra Girl?
Well, it's one of the longer running online comics, going on 16 years now.
Wow, that's a long time. So I was I was 16 when you first started making Zebra Girl, and you've been publishing it online the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is Zebra Girl about?
Well, it's an urban fantasy done in shades of gray. It's about a woman who finds herself transformed into a demonic creature, and since that happened about a decade and a half ago, real time, it's lots happened.
Yeah.
Characters include wizard, anthropomorphic rabbit, werewolf, vampires, all the standard urban fantasy tropes, ghoul here and there. Occasionally, analogs for various famous literary characters.
You do all the writing and drawing yourself?
Yeah, all of it.
And what made you come up with Zebra Girl? Where did the inspiration come from?
Oh, geez, it's a good question. I was just in college one day doodling. I came up with her. I thought that it would be a good place to start. I'd always intended to create a comic, and it seemed like a good way to do it.
Wow. Okay. So,
like a compelling
and you've
story.
been publishing it online since day one, right?
Yes.
And is it just your friends would go on, they'd buy your stuff, and then it expanded from there, or?
Would have been nice if they bought my stuff. Yeah. For the most part, though, I'm in it for the audience, just reading my material. And of course, nowadays, I'm supported in large part through my Patreon campaign, which helps to keep me afloat in this brutal economic climate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say? What was your writing a character for 16 years? What do you think was your best story arc with the character? Your favorite one?
Well, that might be the story where she went to another universe and met a whole new cast of characters that I had to design for the comic before she got back to the old cast of characters.
So you got to just make a whole new world, and that was like, it was fresh, it was a new take, that's what you liked about it?
Well, sure, actually. It's all about the progression of one character, Zebra Girl. It's just one character story over all these years. And
is she based on anyone we know in life, or you know in life?
Well, I suppose I could give you the stock answer and say that she's based on a little bit of everyone that you know.
Okay. Where can we get this for those of us not at WinterCon?
You can find us. I like to say us. It makes my presence sound larger than it is. You can find Zebra Girl at zebragirl.net. That's zebragirl.net. Not .com, because the .com costs an exorbitant amount of money.
We're really going back to the year 2000. We got a .net.
Yeah.
All right, zebragirl.net. Anything else you're working on?
Being a better person?
Yeah. Okay. Totally okay.
All right.
How tall are you anyway?
6'4".
6'4". Okay. All right. Here we are with Jim. Jim, what are you promoting today?
I'm promoting my comic Urgent Transformation Crisis, abbreviated to UTC. It's about a high school full of mad scientists, teenagers who use their ability of gene splicing and magical transformation rays to turn each other into half animal, half human monsters and do other things that can augment their bodies and stuff.
Where do high schoolers get access to gene splicing equipment?
That's a very good question. It's a very well funded private school, and it's run by a geneticist who wants to give younger people more access to the kind of technology that they'll be working with when they eventually become scientists. So it's like, well, okay, we have the best and the brightest high schoolers in the country. Let's get them to really figure out what they can do with genetic research. And it turns out giving highly advanced technology to teenagers is not necessarily the best idea.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just remember when I was a teenager, if I was given highly advanced technology, I would just use it to find adult material for those things. So, like, don't you think some of that gene splicing might go that direction? Is that the kind of book we're reading? Or?
It's hinted at. One of the characters has that kind of idea, but the thing that I push in the comic the most is what it's like, what humanity really means. Is it a purely physical concept, or is it like, can you still be a human if you're growing horns and hooves, or if you have wings or something like that? So each of the characters in the comic undergoes different kinds of transformations, and each of them reacts differently to it. And some of them hate it, some of them like it, some of them are transformed against their will, but some of the kids actually, their own projects, they experiment on themselves to see, okay, I want 4 arms, I want to graft 2 more arms to myself, and so I'll do that. And so there's a whole lot of different angles that I'm trying to approach the story with. and see where it takes humanity in general.
Okay, so where can we get UTC?
You can find it on catomics.com, CATOMIX.com.
So
Cat-O-Mix. Yeah.
Comics. Okay.
It's a combination of cat and comics with an X at the end because X's are cool.
Yes, X's are cool. All right, so catocomics.com. And are you concerned that UTC could get construed into UTI and everyone will call your comic book urinary tract infection?
No, because I think it's already synonymous with universal time coordinates.
Okay.
Which I didn't know when I first titled the comic. So when you search for UTC on Google, you get all this time zone information. So.
Okay, sweet.
I like to play with Toys Productions.
I like to play with Toys Productions.